They tell you respect is earned. They tell you it takes time. They tell you to be consistent, be dependable, be kind. And maybe that works in theory. But in reality, the guy who gets respect instantly isn't the nice one. He's the one who could disappear at any second. I still remember sitting at that rooftop bar in the city. The lights were soft. Her laugh was louder than it should have been. She leaned in like the night was hers to control. And maybe it was for a minute, until I said nothing. Just leaned back, checked the time, and stood up. "You're leaving?" she asked. I said 11. It's 11. But we're just getting started. I'm not. I walked off. No explanation, no anger, no games. Just silence. She texted me 3 times before I reached the elevator. She called me twice the next day. I didn't answer. I wasn't playing hard to get. I wasn't trying to manipulate her emotions. I just don't beg for moments that don't feel aligned. And that's the one ruthless habit that flips the entire power dynamic. You leave the second respect goes missing. By the end of this video, you'll know exactly how to hardwire that habit into your bones so deeply that no woman ever looks at you the same again. It starts with this: most men are terrified of walking away. You dress it up with phrases like being understanding or not overreacting or giving it time. But beneath all of that, you're scared to lose access. You think her presence is the prize. You think her attention is a reward you earn by tolerating disrespect. So you make excuses. She talks over you. She's just emotional. She cancels last minute. She's busy. It's okay. She flirts with other men in front of you. She just wants to see if I care. You're not being understanding. You're being used. Because she's not stupid. She sees it. She feels it. Every time you stay quiet, she loses a bit of respect for you. Every time you bend, she realizes she can shape you into whatever fits her emotional mood that day. And here's the brutal truth: a woman can be madly in love with you and still test you. Not because she's evil, but because she wants to feel your spine. She wants to know if the man in front of her can hold frame, if he can say no, if he can walk away not in anger, but in absolute certainty. Because if you won't walk, you're not a man in her eyes. You're a pet. So how do you flip the script? Start with silence. The moment she disrespects your boundary, don't raise your voice. Don't debate. Don't explain. Just go quiet. You don't reward bad behavior with more access. You withdraw it. You do what no one else is willing to do. You hold stillness in the storm. And when she texts, "Why are you being distant?" you don't answer with paragraphs. You don't beg to be understood. You say, "That didn't sit right with me. I'm moving accordingly." It's calm. It's precise. And it lets her feel your distance like a cold wind through an open door. Most guys can't do this because they're still obsessed with being liked. They think if they just explain themselves better, if they're nice enough, available enough, chill enough, she'll stop pushing. No, she'll push harder. Because she's not testing your explanation. She's testing your edge. The man who earns respect doesn't announce his standards. He enforces them without needing agreement. She doesn't need to get it. She just needs to feel it. And you don't need to convince her. You just need to walk once decisively and her whole nervous system resets. She realizes you're not trying to win her. You're trying to live by code. And she either aligns with it or gets out of the way. There's no drama in this. No shouting. No passive aggression. Just exit. It could be the middle of a date, the middle of a conversation, the middle of a kiss. You feel it: the shift in tone, the micro disrespect, the energy flicker. You pause. You stand. You go. No lecture, no revenge. Just the consequence of crossing a man who values himself more than her approval. She may laugh at first. She may mock it. She may call it immature or toxic. But the moment you're gone, gone, gone. Not fake withdrawal. Not hoping she chases, but truly gone. That's when the obsession starts. Not because she lost you, but because she lost something rare. A man who could say no. Could say, "You have to understand something primal about women. Something most men never grasp because they're too busy begging for clarity. Respect is not logical. It's not about bullet points or credentials or how good of a guy you are. It's emotional, visceral, instinctive. She doesn't respect the man who explains himself. She respects the man who walks away without needing to. It's that moment when you detach with composure that imprints you on her psyche. Not as a threat, not as a jerk, but as the one man who wasn't afraid of her storm. And that right there is what breaks her pattern, because women live in a world of men who orbit, men who wait, men who ask what's wrong instead of looking at what's real. But you saw the misalignment and left without a sound. That shakes her. Not because she needs you, but because now she realizes you didn't need her. And you have to be okay with that, with not being needed, with not being the fantasy, with being forgotten, if that's what it takes. You have to let go of the version of yourself that survives off breadcrumbs, because she'll keep feeding you just enough to keep you around if you let her. That's how women test a man's soul. They don't check your resume, they check your thresholds, and most guys, they fail. Not because they're weak, but because they've been told their whole life, if you want her to stay, make her comfortable. Wrong. If you want her to stay, make her respect you. And that only happens when she knows on a gut level that your comfort matters more than hers. This doesn't mean being cruel, it means being calibrated. It means knowing the difference between emotional volatility and genuine connection. So how do you install this ruthlessness without turning into a bitter, lonely shell? Simple. You build a code, something you live by, not something you say, something you enforce. For example, you don't tolerate flakiness. She cancels twice. You don't bring it up. You just never reschedule. You don't chase texts. She ghosts for days. You don't text again. She sends a dry hey. You don't reply. Not because you're angry, but because you know energy is currency and you don't invest where there's no return. You become the man who enforces distance where there is disorder. Because the second you do that, she has to choose. Match your energy or disappear. And whichever one she picks, you're good either way. Because this is the game most men never realize they're in. You teach her how to treat you by what you tolerate in silence. And when you remove yourself the moment something feels wrong, you speak louder than 1,000 honest conversations ever could. Women feel that. They don't forget it. Because it's rare. And let me tell you the truth. Most guys never hear. Once a woman respects you at that level, the dynamic is never the same again. Even if she dates someone else, even if she blocks you, even if she marries another man, she remembers. She remembers the man who didn't flinch, who didn't beg, who disappeared like a whisper the moment her actions stepped out of alignment. It's not about power, it's not about control. It's about peace. Because the man who can walk away is the man who doesn't fear loneliness. And the man who doesn't fear loneliness is the one she can never own. She can adore you, desire you, fall for you, but she'll never dominate you. And that's what makes her respect you in ways she can't explain. It's not in her logic. It's in her nervous system. She sits across from you wondering, why does he feel different? It's because you're not seeking her validation. You're evaluating her alignment. You don't ask, am I good enough for her? You ask, is she peaceful enough to stay in my world? And when the answer is no, you walk. Not with rage, not with ego, with indifference, with elegance, with finality. She won't say it out loud, but she'll feel it in her chest. That pang, that ache, that ghost of a man who didn't need her affection to feel whole. And that's how obsession begins. Not with flowers, not with sweet words, not with proving yourself, but with the sharp, beautiful absence of a man who refuses to be disrespected, no matter how pretty the face. But here's where most men screw this up. They hear walk away and think it means vanish cold, block her, never speak again. They turn it into a game, a tactic, a manipulation. But that's not the point. Walking away isn't a stunt, it's a reflection of your values. You don't walk to get her reaction. You walk because staying would betray yourself. Let that land. You walk because staying would betray yourself. That's the kind of man she respects. The man who won't even stay for his own comfort if it violates his code. The man who'd rather feel lonely with dignity than surrounded with women who don't understand the weight of his presence. And that's the silent gravity of this habit. You don't have to yell, you don't have to punish, you don't have to threaten. Your absence is the consequence. Your silence is the echo that follows her into the arms of every lesser man. She may not chase you right away. She may act like she doesn't care. She may try to teach you a lesson by matching your distance. Let her. She's not testing your ego. She's testing your center. Will you collapse if she doesn't respond the way you want? Will you reach out just to prove something? Will you break your silence just to be seen again? Or will you stay still? Will you trust that your value doesn't vanish just because she isn't clapping for it? Because that's what turns a boy into a man. The ability to hold tension. You don't text first to break the awkwardness. You don't over-explain to fix the misunderstanding. You don't try to make her see your side. You let her sit with the result of her choices. Not in revenge. In truth, that's how a woman learns. Not through arguments, not through ultimatums. Through contrast. She meets you. A man of standards. A man who leaves when those standards are broken. Then she meets others. Men who tolerate, chase, beg, explain. Men who think affection can be earned through apology. And over time, something shifts. She realizes what she lost, and what she thought she wanted doesn't taste the same anymore. But you're not waiting. You're not hoping. You're not watching her stories to see if she noticed you're gone. You've moved on. Not because you hate her, but because you refuse to abandon your peace. And this is where it becomes a habit. Not a one-time reaction, but a muscle you build. The more you leave what disrespects you, the faster your nervous system calibrates to self-respect. The more you withhold your attention from low-effort energy, the more rare your attention becomes. And eventually, that becomes your reputation. You're the man who doesn't need loud boundaries. Your life enforces them for you. People don't talk to you any kind of way. Women don't play with your time. Your name rings in her memory like a bell she can't unhear. Not because you were aggressive, not because you were cruel, but because you were unshakable. And in a world where every guy is chasing, pleasing, adjusting, reshaping himself to be chosen, you are the man who chooses, not from bitterness, but from stillness. You sit at the edge of every interaction asking one silent question. Is this sacred or is this noise? And when it's noise, you walk, you don't say goodbye, you don't burn the bridge, you don't perform your exit. You just vanish. Like smoke. Like a ghost. Like a man too rare to be taught how to be treated. And that's the truth she'll never forget. Here's what no one warns you about once you make this habit a part of who you are. Your life gets quieter, not lonelier. Quieter. Because chaos doesn't visit a man it can't disturb. The games disappear, the drama dries up. The manipulative women. They walk the other way, not because you're mean, but because they can smell it on you, you won't play. You walk into a room and women sense something different. Not cockiness, not charm, not need, restraint. You don't chase, you don't lean in, you don't audition. You observe, you measure, you stay still. Because you know the second you offer your energy to someone who hasn't earned it, you train them to devalue it. And when a woman meets a man like that, her instincts kick in. Not the instincts society taught her to perform, but the deeper ones, the biological ones. The ones that scream, this man does not flinch. This man is rare, and the respect it's instant. She sits up straighter. She softens. She listens. Not because you demanded it, but because you're not demanding anything. You don't need her to like you. You don't need her to text first. You don't need her to believe you're a good guy. You just need her to be in alignment. And if she is, she gets access. If she's not, you evaporate. That's the unspoken rule of your presence now. It's earned, never handed out. And this is what makes you powerful. Not muscles, not money, not bravado, but clarity, emotional discipline, and the one brutal habit that most men are too afraid to commit to. Walking away with peace, no closure, no follow-up, no checking in to see if she gets it. You don't leave a trail. You don't carry her memory like a wound. You don't cry about the time you invested. You learned, you acted, you moved on. And the next time you see her, maybe at a party, maybe scrolling your feed, maybe just in passing, you won't feel rage, you won't feel regret, you'll feel silence, a clean cut, no infection, no scar that throbs when you remember her laugh, just stillness. Because she gave you one gift without knowing it. She reminded you what happens when you stay too long in rooms that don't honor you. And you use that reminder to sharpen your exit. So here's the final truth. The kind most men will never live long enough to realize. The more easily you walk away from the wrong woman, the faster the right one respects you. Because the right woman doesn't need to be taught how to love you. She just needs to witness the way you love yourself. She sees the way you sit with silence, the way you choose peace over chaos, the way you say nothing when something isn't right. And instead of testing your limits, she protects them, because she knows you'll leave if she doesn't. And that's what makes her stay. Not because she fears losing you, but because she knows she could. And that's all it takes. You don't get her back by waiting. You get her back by never needing her again.